We are still looking for 2 more English readers. Are there any takers? Maybe Lynn or Annette? No pressure. Oh, I see a hand. Judy and Annette? Perfect. So Judy, I'm going to have you read the part when we get to recognition. And Annette, I'm going to have you read the final part called action, and I'll remind you when we get there. Thank you. We are going to give folks about 1 or 2 more minutes to come in, and then we're going to start with Havdalah. So I see so many wonderful friends that I haven't seen all year, and it is so great to see your faces. And I see friends from Virginia too. So I would love it if we could all just type into the chat your name and where you are joining from tonight so that we can see who we are with. And I think I know all of you, but in case you don't know me, I'm Alicia. I'm in Alexandria right now. My beloved duet partner is on call at the hospital right now. She's doing hospital chaplaincy and she misses you all and is sending so much love to all of you. We have someone who's usually in Vermont who is currently usually in Virginia, currently in Vermont, and Lieber's usually in Wakefield, also currently in Vermont, and that's in New Hampshire. Everyone's all over the place. Nan is in Maine. I'm glad everybody is traveling, and it's so nice that you're able to join from all of the places that you are this evening. And Harriet's in North Andover, Judy's at home, on the back porch in Alexandria. So we're going to continue to let folks just join in as they come, but we're going to get started with Havdalah. So we're marking the end of Shabbat and entering our weekday. If you would like to get a glass of wine and some candles, feel free to do that now. I have my beautiful beeswax Havdalah candle, but you can also just get 2 regular candles and you can hold the wicks together, or just 1 candle, or just join in on the light that is shining from everyone's screens. So I'll give everyone a moment to get their wine and candles if you'd like. I've got my spices here, some cloves and some cinnamon. If you have anything that smells sweet that you would like, you can grab that as well. Some orange peel might be a nice addition, any citrus fruit. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to start with Havdalah. We're going to sing first 2 songs to get ourselves into the mood for Havdalah. We're going to start with Essa Einai. Could everyone give me a thumbs up if you can see and hear me okay and see my screen? I see thumbs, that's great. Okay. Essa Einai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Essa Einai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai osei shamayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai osei shamayim va'aretz. Essa Einai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Essa Einai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, the Lord is my strength and my song. The Lord has become my salvation. This has 2 parts that I know many of you know very well, so if you are in a room with another person, feel free to switch back and forth on the harmony. or sing in unison, however you wish. O ziva zimratya vaili lishua. O ziva zimratya vaili lishua. Even though I can't hear your voices, I can feel everyone singing, and I can feel your spirits from afar, from all of your different states, and I'm so grateful for this time together tonight. So we light our Havdalah candles, and we get ready for our first blessing. If you have your candles, feel free to light yours at home. It's a little bit humid here in Virginia, so this box is a little bit resistant. There we go. We start with our wordless melody. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. We lift our glass of wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'ish borei me'orei ha'ish yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Hamavdil bin kodesh lechol, bin or lechoshech, bin Yisrael le'amim, bin yom hashvi, l'shishat yemei ha'ma'aseh. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavdil bin kodesh lechol. Yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Eliyahu hanavi, Eliyahu hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu hakiladi, bimhera v'yamenu, yavo elenu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu hanavi, Eliyahu hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu hakiladi. Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. I'm pausing the screen share for a moment so that we can all see each other's faces. It is such a joy to be with you tonight. After not having seen you for so much time and to have new friends from Virginia joining us as well. We're moving into our Tisha B'Av service now. This is our lowest point of the year. We come with broken hearts together. And our tradition gives us this time to practice sitting in our brokenness together. I've been taking this amazing class about love and Judaism from Rabbi Shai Held for this summer, and he introduced us to this teaching this past week about how a broken heart leads to wholeness and healing. He said, a broken heart, Rabbi Nachman said, a broken heart is very dear and precious to God. You should set aside some time each day for heartbreak. And Rabbi Nachman was cautioning us that if we don't allow this time for heartbreak, we can become completely consumed by grief, or we can completely block it off and hold it back until it is toxic and it hurts us. And Tisha B'Av allows us to practice sitting in this grief together so that we are not completely consumed alone. We have each other. And we know that we're all coming in our brokenness and helping each other become whole. And we don't have to limit it to just tonight. We can take a leaf from the book of Rabbi Nachman and practice brokenheartedness every day. But I'm grateful for this little bit of time together where we can acknowledge, so counter to what everyone is trying to tell us, everything doesn't have to be normal and okay. It's all right for us to be exactly as we are right now. If this is your first time observing Tisha B'Av, the observance traditionally is marking the destruction of the first temple in Jerusalem, 586 BC, and the destruction of the second temple in 70 CE. And we chant the words of Eicha, the Book of Lamentations. There is much debate about when these words were written and compiled. What I find the most tantalizing is the suggestion that these were laments of eyewitnesses to the destruction of the first temple. There are even some suggestions that there were public laments that were so gripping and so heartrending that they were written down and remembered by scribes and compiled many generations later. And I, for one, love this idea that we're hearing the voices of eyewitnesses of our ancestors, and that we're given this holy task of holding their memories and their grief, and that they are giving us this gift of being able to feel our grief together as well. And you all this year have shared your words as well to add to their words, which we're going to be hearing tonight. So we will start together by singing again. Traditionally, there's not music on Tisha B'Av, but we are such a singy congregation that I didn't think anyone would mind. I'm going to once again screen share, but Don is here in the chat if you need him at all. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to sing the melody of the 3rd chapter of the book of Eicha, the book of Lamentations. We won't hear this melody chanted for a while yet, but to me it is the most haunting melody that just puts me in the frame of mind for Tisha B'Av. So I'd like to teach it to you tonight, part by part. The first part is Yai dai 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 dai. Let's all sing that together. Yai dai 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 dai. The second part. Yai dai dai dai. Let's try that together. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai. The third part. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai. Let's sing together. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai. Let's put all 3 of those parts together and we'll sing it a couple of times through. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai 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 dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai. So whenever you hear that melody tonight, feel free to join in. I'm going to start the screen share again, and we are going to sing the words of Psalm 137, By the Rivers of Babylon. Al naharot Bavel, al naharot Bavel, al naharot Bavel, al naharot As we move into the first chapter of Eicha, I'd just like to give you a brief introduction to the structure of how our readings are going to go tonight. I've chosen portions of Eicha. We'll have English readings first, followed by chanting in Hebrew, and we'll have a few moments in between each section for folks to share some thoughts and reactions in the chat box. And we have 4 wonderful readers who have volunteered to read our English verses tonight. So we'll be starting with Andy, who's going to be reading verses 1 through 4 in English. And I'm going to ask Don to put the link to the doc into the chat once more, in case anyone would prefer to follow along on their own. So I'll ask Andy to read in English all 4 verses. And Andy, if you could just unmute, and you can read verses 1 through 4.
How does the city sit solitary? That was full of people. She has become as a widow. She who was great among the nations, who was a princess among the provinces, is become tributary. She weeps sore in the night, and tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she has none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Yehuda is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwells among the nations. She finds no rest. All her persecutors overtook her within the straits. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn assembly. All her gates are desolate. Her priests do sigh. Her virgins are sorrowful, and she herself is in bitterness.
Thank you, Andy.
Yehuda mioni umirov avodah Yosheva vagoyim lo matzata manoach kol rodefecha hisiguha bin hametzarim Darchi Tzion avilot מבלי באמוריד, כל שעריها שוממין, כהנהן אנכים, בתולותיך נוגות, והיא מרלה.
And we sing together another teaching of Rabbi Nachman. The whole world is a very narrow bridge. The important thing is not to be afraid.
Kol haolam kulo geshet tsar meod, geshet tsar meod, geshet tsar meod. Kol haolam kulo geshet tsar meod, geshet tsar meod, v'haikar והעיקר לא לפחד כלל והעיקר לא לפחד כלל כל העולם כולו כשצר מאוד כשצר מאוד כאשר צר מאוד.
I'll pause the screen share and I invite you to respond in the chat window. What is your narrow place and what is your narrow bridge? What is your narrow place, your Mitzrayim? What is your narrow bridge? And you're very welcome to type into the chat box or simply take this time to meditate to yourself. The time left to hold back climate change, all the broken things in the world right now. The attack on voting rights. Loss of solidarity in communities. Living far from parents when they need me. Disparities in vaccination. And if you're still typing, feel free to continue sharing your thoughts in the chat box, returning to in-person activities when so many remain unvaccinated, political turmoil and chaos in South Africa. We can continue to let these words flow through the chat box as we continue. We move into our second portion, and our reader is going to be Tisha. I'll start the screen share again. And Tisha, if you could please read verses 1 through 9. Thank you. And I think you may still be muted. Oh.
She wasn't muted, but Tisha, we weren't getting any sound from you. You're now muted again.
No, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you're not muted as far as Zoom is concerned, but maybe your mic is off.
That is quite all right. I will start in English, and I will start with verse 1. Quite all right. I am the man who has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He has led me and caused me to walk in darkness and not in light. Surely against me he turns his hand again and again all the day. My flesh and skin he has worn out. He has broken my bones. He has built against me and compassed me with gall and travail. He has made me to dwell in dark places, as those that have been long dead. He has walled me about, that I can't go forth. He has made my chain heavy. Even when I cry and call for help, he shuts out my prayer. He has walled up my ways with hewn stone. He has made my paths crooked.
Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Ani hagever ha'oni b'shevet avrato, oti nahag v'yolach, choshech v'lo or, ach bi yashuv yahafoch yado, kol hayom. Bila v'sari v'ori, shibar atzmotai, bana alai v'yakaf, rosh utla'ah, b'machashakim hoshivani, k'mete olam. Kadar ba'adi v'lo etzeh, hichbid nechoshti, gam ki yezak ve'ashaveh ashtam tefilati. Kadar derachai begazit, netivotai va. And please join me in the Nigun one more time. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. We sing together the words of Psalm 130. Eli, Eli, Shema Koli. My Lord, hear my voice. Eli, Eli, Shema Koli. We'll have another moment for reflection in the chat window. Whose voices do you want to be hearing in the world today? Whose voices do you want to be hearing in the world today? We'll let those responses continue to flow in as we continue. And our third reader is Judy, and she'll be reading verses 28 through 42.
Let him sit alone and keep silence, because he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust. There may yet be hope. Let him give his cheek to him who strikes him. Let him be filled with reproach, for the Lord will not cast off forever. For though he causes grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his loving kindness. He does not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men. Let us search and examine our ways and turn back to the Lord. Let us lift up our heart with our hands to the Almighty in the heavens. We have transgressed and rebelled. You have not pardoned.
Thank you, Judy. Yeshev badar vayidom ki natal alav yiten be'afar pihu ulai ish tikvah yiten lemakehu lachi isba b'cherpa Ki lo yiznach leolam Adonai Ki im hogavricham Kerov chasadav Ki lo inam ilibo V'yagev neish Nach pesad arachenu v'nach korah v'nashuva ad Adonai nisal vavenu el kapayim el bashamayim nachnu pashanu umarinu Atalo salachta. We continue with the words from the community. Thank you so much for your responses. If you haven't had a chance and would still like to contribute, at any point you can add your thoughts to the text box. We have here a chorus of responses from the community, far and wide, reflections on this year. I mourn those who I have lost. I mourn all the lives lost to COVID across the world. I miss certainty. I fear loss yet to come. I fear fear. I fear the divisions among us. I cry out for calm in the face of chaos. I mourn my father-in-law. I miss my mama. I miss my father and my sister, who died when I was a child. I miss my deceased parents, my aunt and my dear friend. I mourn the loss of civil society. I mourn the loss of public decency. I miss the ability to travel freely and the hugs of friends. I pray for peace. I pray for community and family. I tremble as I read every article in the daily newspaper. I fear gun violence, racism, and political extremism. I fear that I am not doing enough to change the injustices in the world. I fear the collapse of civil and voting rights for the poor, the vulnerable, people of color, and immigrants. I mourn for the victims of white supremacist violence. I cry out for help. I cry out for the injustice stemming from political polarization and self-interest. I pray for the renewal of faith, hope, and love in our faith communities. I pray for mutual respect among all people. I pray for understanding. I cry out for justice and an end to police violence for people of color in our country. I pray for justice and freedom for all. I pray for wholeness. I fear for the bees, the birds, and the pollinators. I pray for a turnaround of respect for the natural world, the only one that supports our lives. I pray that we will have the strength to understand our responsibility to preserve our world and have the courage to change the way that we live together. I pray for a restoration of health for our planet and all the people who inhabit it. I mourn for the loss of farmland. I miss sharing meals with friends. Turn and listen to the land herself. Turn and listen to the land herself. We sing the Nigun together. Yai, dai, 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 dai. A new generation of public leaders is emerging. Turn and listen to the still small voice of God. I am hopeful for new beginnings. Turn and listen to the wind as it brings new possibilities and ongoing life. I am hopeful that the arts and music will regenerate and flourish. I see encouraging signs of new growth and inspiration. I am hopeful for the beautiful friendships in my life. Turn and listen to the waves of the ocean. I am hopeful that the world will open up again. Turn and listen to the ways that people show their love for each other. I am hopeful the teens and youth of today will have increased compassion for others throughout their lives. Turn and listen to each other. Listen to the quiet spaces in between the noise. I am hopeful for God's love that ever searches the world for open hearts and minds. Turn and listen for the voice of God that sings now as at the birth of creation. I thank you all so much for your reflections and your responses. We move into chapter 4, and our final reader in the English is Annette. If you could read verses 11 through 22, please, Annette.
The Lord has spent his wrath. He has poured out his fierce anger. He has kindled a fire in Sion, which has devoured the foundations of it. The kings of the earth didn't believe, neither all the inhabitants of the world, that the adversary and the enemy would enter into the gates of Jerusalem. You, the Lord, abide forever. Your throne is from generation to generation. Why do you forget us forever and forsake us for the length of days? Bring us back to you, O Lord, and we shall return. Renew our days as of old. For truly you have rejected us, bitterly raged against us. Take us back, O Lord, to yourself, and let us come back. Renew our days of old.
Thank you, Annette. Ki la Adonai et hamoto, shafach charon apo, vayitzidish b'tzion, vatochal yesodoteha. Lo hi'iminu malchei eretz, kol yoshvei tevel. Ki yavo tsar ve'oyiv, b'sha'arei Yerushalayim. Ata Adonai le'olam teshiv, ki sachar ledor vador. Lama la'netzach tishkachinu, ta'azavinu le'orech yamim. Hashivinu Adonai lecha v'nashuva, Chadish yaminu kekedem. Ki imaos me'astanu, katsafta alinu ad me'od. Hashivinu Adonai lecha v'nashuva, Chadish yaminu kekedem. We sing together. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai elecha, v'nashuva, v'nashuva, Chadish, Chadish, Yaminu kekedem. We move now into the Mourner's Kaddish. I'll pause the screen share for a moment and I invite you to either unmute and speak aloud or to write into the chat box the name of anyone who you are mourning tonight, anyone who you're particularly missing, if you're in the period of Shloshim, observing a yahrzeit, or someone is just in your memory tonight. I invite you to share their name. Claire Fiennes, Chris Shields, Rob Levine, Linda and Edward, Pam Levine, Samuel Lebo, Gail Traeger, Ida Bershad, Mary Jane Gendro, Bruce Whittemore, Pamela Zimmerman, Obam Lopez, Jeannie McCabe, Simone, Bill, Paul McIntyre, Bob Duffy, Ali Jessup, we can continue to let those names flow through the chat box, and I invite you to rise either in body or in spirit, or as is your custom for the Mourner's Kaddish, and I'll once again share the screen. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yeheshme Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehesh lama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. If you are standing, you may be seated. Before we conclude with our final song, I want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. It has been such an honor to share this time with you. Thank you for bringing your brokenheartedness and your joy, and for trusting us enough to bring it to this space, for your beautiful words that you shared. Thank you. And we'll sing together our song of peace, Osei Shalom. Osei Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Let's sing it one more time with the screen share off so we can see each other's faces. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen. Shavua Tov, Laila Tov. Sending love to all of you from Alexandria.